Hello, this is the video from the group 1. Please watch this video carefully and please don't sleepy or lose your concentration. Enjoy!
What is morphology? Morphology is the field of science that discusses basic words and affixes, and the object of study morphology is called morpheme. Morpheme is the most important of word structure. Morpheme is the small unit of language that carries information about meaning or function. The example consists of two morphemes is houses. Houses is made up from the morpheme house with the meaning dwelling and morpheme as with the meaning more than one. The second consists of a single morpheme is play. Play cannot divide into smallest parts again. Free morpheme and bound morpheme. The free morpheme is just a simple word that has a single morpheme. It is free and can occur independently. There are two categories of free morpheme. The first one is lexical morpheme. It is morpheme that can stand alone and can convey content clearly. The example like boy, kind, study, and etc. The second is functional morpheme. It can stand alone, but the content isn't clearly. The example like but, at, the, and, she, and etc. Bound morpheme. The bound morpheme is the morpheme that cannot stand alone but must be bound or attached to other morpheme. The types of bound morpheme are derivational morpheme. Derivational morpheme is morpheme which, if passed with another morpheme, will result a different word. In derivational, there are two kinds, namely prefix in the beginning word and suffix in the last word. And the second one is inflectional morpheme. Inflectional morpheme is modify a verb's tense or a noun's number without affecting the word's meaning or class. The example like book, be books, learn, be learned.
Now we will talk about the suffixal homophones. Some suffixes, both inflectional and derivational, have homophone forms. Let's start with the inflectional morphemes. There are two types of inflectional morphemes. The first one is derivational suffix. It attaches the verb to verb nouns. For examples like hunter and fisher. Usually, it called as HNER and conveys to perform action or verb step. But it may also be attached to non-verbal stems. For examples like teenager. Derivational suffix. It appears at the end of the word and conveys the meaning of repetition. For examples like patter and chatter. The second form homophone is the verbal inflectional suffix. It has two homophones. The first one is nominal derivational suffix. It's like meeting and wedding. And the second is adjectival morphemes. It's like a charming woman. A charming is adjective. For information, there are two ways to know the difference of verbal inflectional and adjectival morphemes. The first way is usually verbal inflectional occur after as well as before noun. Examples like I saw a burning house and I saw a house burning. At the first sentence, I saw a burning house, the verbal inflectional is appear before the noun. And then for the second example, I saw a house burning. The verbal inflectional is appear after the noun. The adjectival can be preceded by qualifier like very, or by the comparative or superlative like more and most, while the verbal ing cannot. It is very comforting thought. This is the example. And the second example is, this is a more exciting movie. The second way is, the adjectival ing can occur after the verb seems, but it can't be for the verbal. For example, the snake seemed interesting. And the second, the snake seems crawling. Take a breath. Well, don't be confused. It's really a simple thing to be understood. Really, you have to relax, then watch it again if it's necessary. This is the third form, the verb inflection. The verbal inflectional has a homophone in the adjectival derivational. The adjectival can be preceded by a qualifier like very, rather, and quiet, or like more and most. For examples like, Helen was excited about her new job. She was a devoted mother. The task of the verb seems is applicable to adjectival but not to verbal. For examples like, the very departed cat has forgotten their dog. And the second, the cat seemed departed. Next, this is last form, the adverbial derivational. The adverbial derivational suffix is added to most adjectives to form that verb. It's divided into several, and the first one is added to monosyllabic to form adjectives that are inflected with ir, est, like love and lovely. The second is added noun to form adjectives that are not inflected with ir, est, like king and kingly. The third is added to view adjectives, giving alternate adjectival forms that are also inflected with ir, est, that and thatly. And it's the last, added to a short list of time nouns to form adjectives like day, daily, month, monthly.
Next, I will tell you about allomorph. What is allomorph? Allomorph is a variant form of the morpheme about sound and phonetic symbols, but that doesn't change the meaning. Allomorph have different pronunciation and spelling according to their conditions. This means that the allomorph will have a different sound, pronunciation, or spelling under different conditions. Allomorph consists of the first is past tense allomorph. In English, a past tense morpheme is "ed". It occurs in several allomorphs depending on its phonological environment. In past tense allomorph include "id" after "d" and "t", it's like "head", and "t" after all other phraseless sound, it's like "picked", and "d" after all other phrase sound, it's like "wedge". And next is plural allomorph. The plural morpheme for regular nouns in English is typically realized by adding s or es to the end of nouns. The plural morpheme has three different allomorphs. The first is s, second is z, and third is s. For example, in plural allomorph is bags. We can see that the symbol of plural allomorph, the morpheme z, becomes s. Next, or the third, is allomorph that made of article. It's like an and a. The last or the fourth is negative allomorph. In English, the negative prefix it has three allomorph. It is like in, and im. For example, in negative allomorph is intolerant. We can see that the symbol of negative allomorph the morpheme in becomes in. And the next example for negative allomorph is incongruous. We can see that the symbol from the negative allomorph, the morpheme in becomes in. Lexical allomorph. The choice of allomorph is unpredictable, so you must memorize the word with the root word. It's like ox, if plural becomes oxen, and sheep, if plural becomes sheep. In the lexical allomorph, have two types. The first is different allomorph. In the different allomorph, include as, z, and is. For example, like cats, dogs, and bugs. And the second type in lexical allomorph is same allomorph. In the same allomorph, include this. For example, like disagree, discount, and dislike.